It's the Seth Williams Show with Mike Giselka. And here's your host, Seth Williams and Mike Giselka.
And welcome to another Monday night. It is Monday, right?
Yeah, it is all day.
Yeah, they all run together at this point.
I noticed that too.
Yeah. And when you don't have a leg and can't walk or can't drive out of the house, and it seems like every day is one after another. You look outside and hope that the weather's nice to open up, and I can stand on the patio and I can walk around the house and stuff, but I guess I could walk around the neighborhood.
Yeah, probably. But for me, it's just like we've been on a roll. I've been lucky, and the show's been blessed with like good guests over the last few weeks and segments, and so I find myself just like really, really itching to get through the time till we're on again. So
yeah, how was your weekend?
Anybody listening, pick up a couple more sponsors so we can do this full time.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. I work on Saturday and Sunday, so it went really fast. I did. Turner Classic Movies was on, and I watched Mutiny on the Bounty and Dr. Strangelove back to back. Sat there for like 4 hours and watched two really, really cool movies that I never saw from start to finish. So that was nice.
That's cool. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we did much. My daughter had a very long shift at work. She actually picked up an extra shift.
That's the kind of stuff that's going to turn her into a manager. That's what I was talking about last week.
Like, I'm trying to find a freaking job, and this girl is picking up extra shifts, which is awesome. But she worked yesterday from noon until 9 at night.
Okay.
It was a very long day for a 16-year-old. But she loved it. She did a good job, so I'm very proud of her.
Either that or she's smart enough to realize that you don't get out much. Heather's busy, and she at 16 has mastered the art that you and I discovered at 16, where you call your parents up and go, I'd like to come home, but they're making me work late. I'll see
right.
you.
Yeah, unfortunately for her, she's not driving, so she'd have to walk somewhere if she's going to have someone to pick her up.
All right.
But now with technology, I watch everywhere her phone goes.
Okay.
So, if she walks out of her place of employment, I know exactly where she's at.
Okay.
And she ain't leaving anywhere without that phone.
Bingo.
That's where these kids are. All right, so tonight we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, we can't ignore the story of the day, the big, huge, ginormous story with the school shooting in Nashville. Terrible. 3 kids unfortunately dead, 3 adults dead, and then the suspect also shot and killed.
You know what?
It's one of those things that I hate talking about, but you have to.
Yeah. And I'm gonna start off with this. You know what broke my heart?
Yeah.
Not jaded, not that these ever get old, and none of that stuff, and it has nothing to do with law, politics, or what do we do next. This is what broke my heart. Is the video shot from a little bit of a distance, like across the street, that showed that little parade of must have been 1st or 2nd grade kids holding hands, walking single file, and leaving the school to cross the street.
Yeah.
And I just looked at those kids and I went, oh my God, that's a part of their school day. Yeah. Practice once a month is a part of their school day. We never had to put up with that.
Yeah, my daughter's had numerous training, I guess, if you will, for that kind of thing, about what to do, where to go, where to hide, what to throw at somebody that might come in with a gun. I mean, yeah, it's sad. But back in the day, it was, if a tornado was coming, jump under your desk and hope for the best. And now if a shooter is coming, you have to have plans. But before we get into all that, we also have Jay Boc, comedian, coming up at 6:00 as we take on the East Palestine fundraiser that we are doing.
I've got some news on that too, real quick. I'll share with you so you know before Jay gets on the air. we have come up with an official name for the endeavor.
Okay.
It's called Ohio Comics Stand Up for East Palestine.
Awesome. That is very cool.
That's the name of what we're doing from now on.
Very good. And we are going to be a part of that from week to week with various comedians coming on, and tell you how you can get involved in that tonight as well. But before we do that, and before we get into the heavy stuff about the school shooting, I want to talk to 3 lovely people, and they do a great job. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We're talking with Trang, Clarissa, and Clara. Is that correct?
Yes.
Fantastic. Part of the Metro Burn Unit.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are doing a fundraiser for the Providence House. We'll get into that in just a second. But I think it's very cool that you guys are on tonight. You guys deal with some of the worst of the worst. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's
a rough day.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be a patient here. I agree with that.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, on behalf of people that just it's not part of their life until, God forbid, it happens to someone close. But it's not like you sit around with nothing to do. You're pretty busy. There's a lot more that going on than people know about, right?
Yeah, this burn unit is one of the few burn units that actually are verified by the American Burn Association that we do treat adult and child pediatric burns. And we also have an inpatient unit and an outpatient unit, so we are a comprehensive center more than just a unit. It's a comprehensive center where we can take little burns to the critical burns. So, and you see us inpatient and outpatient. So we all kind of do it all here.
That's amazing. See, I spent a month in Metro, so I have nothing but great things to say about Metro and the hospital and the therapists there and the doctors there that worked on me. I lost a leg back on Easter of last year, and with all the help from everybody at Metro, they have me up and walking now. So I mean, it's fantastic. So everybody there seems to do a great job.
I do appreciate good teamwork. We all do very great teamwork here, and I think that's a part of why we're on tonight, because that's kind of our goal.
Yes.
Is we started a fundraiser as a team because
it was our manager's idea of team building. So he thought it would be fun to divide up the unit into 2 teams. Both of the units have been doing a lot of fundraisers, raising money for Providence House, which it's a nursery. It's a nonprofit nursery for children, newborns to the age of 12 that are at high risk for like abuse and neglect. This is like a shelter for them to stay.
Yeah, it's a crisis center. Yep.
The guy I used to work with, Mike Trevisano, used to have numerous events for the Providence House.
Yeah.
And we'd have all kind of people stop by and donate things to Providence. It's a really great organization. They do a lot of good work.
Yeah.
Mike, you're familiar with Providence House, right?
Oh, absolutely. I've been part of other fundraising opportunities for them. Unfortunately, I also know Providence House from the other side as well, because I spent 20 some odd years as a criminal defense attorney and got to meet some of the people that were responsible for their homes being dangerous. Let's put it that way. And just to see that effect it has on lives. Plus, you learn things along the way, too. I watched the Ken Burns documentary on Prohibition. And a lot of people, most of the people, I think, when they think of Prohibition, think of the Roaring 20s and gangsters and pinstripe suits and flapper girls in dresses and bobbed hair and stuff like that. And that was the last couple of years of a 9-year Prohibition experience. But Prohibition came about in the Industrial Revolution when all the women in America convinced all the churches in America to stop the men in America from getting their paycheck on Thursday and coming home Sunday night drunk and broke and putting the lives and well-being of their wives and kids at risk. It was a real social dilemma, and Providence House is still serving that population. The good news is, from where we're all sitting, is if you do a little bit of research, Northeast Ohio is one of the leaders in the country for people that open up their hearts and their wallets and support each other. We've got some phenomenal charities that do amazing work, and Providence House is certainly on the short list.
I don't disagree with that. Providence House, being that type of crisis center in our community, it is about community. It's about helping each other and, keeping what we know as Cleveland. This is our city. This is our town, and helping each other out is so important, especially in the world today, as we know earlier today, just tragedy. And yeah, it's important to think about what comes better from it. What can we do, better? And this is kind of where we decided to go with it, is we wanted to help, the mothers and the children out there in crisis who don't have the opportunity to help themselves.
That's great work.
So can you explain what the your fundraiser is all about?
So what we're doing is this Sunday,
Yes, April 2nd.
From noon to 4, we will be at Goldhorn Brewery. It's on 55th and close to Lexington and 55th by League Park and the Baseball Heritage Museum, all that area there. Goldhorn Brewery joined in with our fundraiser, and we're going to be hosting a basket raffle there. We'll have a basket raffle, 50-50. They have this huge fun game room. I don't know have you guys ever been to the brewery? It's a nice brewery. It's so spacious and just great place to be together and have a great time. We are taking donations. It doesn't necessarily have to be for the basket raffle, but we will be there from noon to 4, Goldhorn Brewery this Sunday, having just a good time. Goldhorn was also gracious enough to donate pizza, and for every beer bought, they're going to also donate $1 to Providence House. So I want to make sure that Goldhorn Brewery gets their recognition, because they really are helping us achieve our goal.
Perfect.
And the people can donate, or they can do the Venmo is at Metro Burn Fundraiser, correct?
Correct. And or if you're not familiar, what did Triv always say? I'm living in a world I don't understand. This Venmo, these Cash Apps, all that sort of stuff. If you do come on to Goldhorn, there is a cash option and that sort of stuff. Okay.
Wow.
Where's Goldhorn Brewery?
East 55th.
Yeah.
And close, if you get off of Euclid.
All right. Yeah, tell your husband that was good to have you work in the living in a world I don't understand thing. That was good.
I told him I promised I would.
Fair enough.
Hey, we have a call. We have somebody on the line who actually wants to say hi to you guys. Do you mind?
Awesome.
All right, hang on. Chris, you're on.
Hi, Chris.
Damn.
Hi, can you hear me?
There we go.
Yep.
Hi, ladies. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I have done time in your burn unit, and it is the godsend of godsend. And I was there in 1994, end of the year. Dr. Freddie Inn is my hero in life. He is
Ours too.
He is the best, and I'll just tell you, and I've told it on the show many times with Seth and Mike, I should not be here. I was 69% third degree.
Wow.
I got smoked pretty good, and I'm here and I'm productive, and I've had a great life since because of the incredible work that you guys do. And you guys specifically, the nurses, do not get near enough credit. I know that it's easy to throw the credit to Dr. Fratt and his team, and they are wonderful. And I'm sure whoever's there now is wonderful. But for me, it was the nurses at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was miserable and bored and sad and scared that carried me through. You guys do great work, and I personally, you guys don't know this at all, but I've written a book about my time in the burn unit, and I'd like to donate a case of them for your drive if that.
You there?
We missed it.
Sorry,
Yeah,
we
well,
it got cut off.
Yeah, something cut out there.
Hello, I said I'd like
There he
to
is.
donate books about the burn unit, about my time in the burn unit.
That would be amazing.
Thank you so much.
And honestly, if you want to donate those books, you can donate them to the unit, and we can ensure that the patients are getting them. Because having somebody to relate to really does make a difference for our patients here. So that would be amazing. Thank you so much, Chris. That's great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for what you do, because literally there's no amount of press or statement that can really say how important it is to somebody that's in there. So, keep doing what you're doing. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can't do it without the team, though. Takes more than just the nurses. We have everybody here in the burn unit makes a difference. So, and that was the goal of our fundraiser, is just making a difference. That's what we want to do. I know we do it, here every day, but we're bleeding hearts, I guess. We just want to give back.
There you go. I have another question, talking about somebody who just stands and admires the work that you do, but the three of you sitting there have become, like you said, a team. The unit is a team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But individually, how did you all discover that this was your calling? How did, if I'll shut up and just listen, but it's amazing to me that you just, there was one time you were 6 years old and playing in a sandbox, and now you're at the Metro Burn Unit that's nationally known.
Well, it's funny that you say 6 years old, because I was burned when I was 6. So, fun fact about me. But but I don't know. I always loved wound care. I love the burn population. I think it's also because I was a burn victim myself when I was younger.
Okay.
So yeah. So I think that was my calling. I obviously didn't think that, I want to be a burn nurse at 6 years old. Like, who would want to do that? But as I was, getting older, and I just started, in school, things like that, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, like burn nurse wise. I didn't know that's what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to help and give back to the community. And then I started my nurse internship here in 2018, and I fell in love with this floor. I fell in love with the teamwork. I fell in love with the open communication that that we have here. Everything is all about teamwork here. It could be 3 of us in a dressing change for 2 hours with the patient, out sweating. I'll hold a limb for you, Clarissa, and and you just wrap, and we'll, and then we'll bust that out, and then we'll go to the next one. Yeah. So I started as a nurse intern, and I loved it, and I was like, I want to continue, when I graduate, and I've been here since then.
And so, for me personally, I actually worked at a different hospital that downtown that is now closed, and I worked there for quite some time in an ICU. Did a lot of cardiac, did a lot of surgical ICU type of things, and I just knew it was time for me to move on and find something different. believe it or not, I met Trang
At my practical.
at that hospital, and
Oh.
it was very interesting. It was just by fate meeting.
Yes.
She was doing her like clinical practice at the hospital I formerly worked at, and I had just applied to the burn unit and accepted the position when I found out I was literally kind of taking her on as a student, and I found out she was a nurse here.
Wow.
So it was like,
It was meant
it's
to
kind
be.
of fate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice coming into a new career and having a friend or a new, position and having a friend. And I think it took me from the world of adults into the world of adults and pediatrics and outpatient and inpatient. And for me, it really was the comprehensive care. It was the start to finish. It was I got to see you get better.
Yeah.
That's every time I see a patient come back, like Chris, these patients years later that still come back, still give us cookies at Christmas. We don't even know them, but we know them.
Right.
And it's that comprehensive care that drew me to this profession. So,
And
It's just unbelievable stuff.
So I started here about a year ago, and I came here because I loved wound care. I was working at UH as a nurse intern there, and had met a manager for a different unit, and she asked me what my dream unit would be, and I said burns because I love working with the skin. I love doing wound care and seeing the wounds heal as time progresses. And she said, there's a burn unit here in Cleveland, which I didn't know at the time. And
she's not from here.
no, I'm not. I'm from the West Coast.
Okay.
I moved here for nursing school, and I applied, got an interview, shadowed here on the unit, and participated in multiple dressings while shadowing. And I fell in love with the team. I fell in love with the dressings, and here I am, and I absolutely love it, and I love it every day.
And the reason I thought to ask that as part of this interview is back in January, my girlfriend had shoulder replacement surgery. And after watching what went on, the teamwork 24, she ended up in there a couple days instead of being discharged because of some other blood work stuff. But anyway, to just watch the floor at work, and Seth, you have to have seen this too and noticed this too. It must be a really good feeling at the end of your day, even if it's a 36-hour day, to know that the job that you have, you can actually see that you're making a difference in people's lives. You're not in a factory putting tab A in slot B. You're not just, doing repetitive stuff over and over and wondering, why am I here? What am I doing? And it's certainly not just for, punching a time clock and adding up the hours. You're got called to do something where you really make a difference and change people's lives. That's precious. I wish you could give a teaspoon of that to everybody.
Yeah, I would say nursing everywhere is not, it's a bleeding heart profession. It's for the people who really want to do it. Bedside care. I've been at the bedside. I know I look 20, but it's been close to 14 years now. I've been as a bedside nurse. And I can remember some of my very first patients to patients I take care of now. And I have only identified to help the patients. It's never about the money. It can't be.
My mother was actually an emergency room nurse for many years.
That's a tough one too.
Wow. And she did it in cities everywhere from Cleveland to New York City. And so, she saw everything that you could possibly see in an emergency room. And so I know the nursing profession is definitely a good one and a giving one. And I'm pretty sure that the nurses that took care of me were kind of happy that their day was over. by the time that they were done in my room.
Oh, Seth.
I'm pretty
We'll
sure I
talk
wasn't
about
the
that
easiest.
later.
Yeah, there
I'm
you
sure I
go.
wasn't the easiest patient to deal with. Especially when the cable went out and I'm staring at a blank TV going, all right, what the hell's going on here?
Well,
yeah.
we're glad you're getting better.
I appreciate that. People are texting, thank you, ladies, for what you do. It takes a special person to be able to handle trauma. And it takes a special person to do what you guys do. Tell everybody about the fundraiser one more time for the Providence House. It's a great organization. They take care of at-risk kids. But tell us all about it once again.
So April 2nd from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Goldhorn Brewery on East 55th, we will be raffling off 8 different gift baskets, all curated by our nurses, put together by us. And, I don't have the ticket prices in front of me right now, actually. But you can buy any number of tickets. Put them in as many boxes as you want for as many for as many of the baskets as you want, and just come out, have a good time, get some pizza, have a couple beers. $1 from every beer at Goldhorn. They're donating to the Providence House as well. So thank you so much, Goldhorn, for doing that for us. And we're just out there to have a good time and
just
support Providence House, support our community.
That's very cool. Well, thank you guys for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it. You guys working tonight or what's going on?
We're at work, yeah.
I see that, but how long you got left? You got a long day still ahead of you?
I think we're all done.
Yeah.
We stayed over just for you.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, good. Enjoy your night. Thank
All
you
I can
again.
say too is anything you're involved in, any next good idea, this show, Seth and I'd be happy to help out. Don't hesitate to call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
You're
guys
welcome.
so much.
Thank you. You have a great
We really
night. Good luck with the
appreciate
event.
it.
And
And
just remember,
there's that
What?
Venmo. Anybody?
there it is.
There it is.
And this show is posted everywhere after tonight, so people will be watching it all week long. So thank you
I'll
very
be
much.
sharing
again.
it to all those social media thingies.
Good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Super cool event.
Yeah.
Providence House is a great organization. Triv did a lot for that charity. I think they're still trying to do stuff for that charity over there. I don't care who does it, support that charity because it's a great thing. Providence House is fantastic. It's a well-deserved organization.
I have always had a theory. And tonight, what an illustration, because we've got some stuff that neither one of us want to talk about, but both feel we have an obligation to talk about it. And then you balance it off with what we've just been doing for the last, 20 minutes. And I believe me, as long as there are 1% more people like us and them in this world, we'll be okay.
Amen to that. Feel free to comment on the show. You can leave your comments, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And unfortunately, we got to talk about the news of the day. So we'll do that in just a couple of minutes. And Jay Boc, comedian, coming up at 6 o'clock, doing another charity event. Should be pretty cool. But we got to talk about what's going on in the world. We'll be right back.
What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran-owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last.
Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's Flag serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick Flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. Winter is here, so call Charlie's Auto Repair for snow plowing needs. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.
Right back here, the Seth Williams Show with Mike Yuselka. Thank you to the lovely ladies at the burn unit there in Metro. Nurses, fantastic people, doing God's work, man. It's good stuff.
No kidding.
I'll tell you what, though. We're going to talk about technology, watching every move that you make. During the little break there, I got a notification on my phone from Facebook saying Providence House has an event you might like to check out. And it's another event that they have going on. Nothing that we were promoting tonight, just something else that was going on. So big school shooting today. Unfortunately, I hate to use those terms, but it was sad, terrible, awful. 3 students, 3 teachers or adults, I should say, shot and killed, and then the suspect shot and killed. The shooter was identified as Audrey Elizabeth Hale, a Nashville resident. This is according to Fox News, what I'm reading right now, who identified as transgender. Investigators were investigating a home connected to her. Nashville police, Hale said Hale possibly prepared for the shooting. They said in this press conference, again, I'm just reading what just came out. I just got this right now. Also determined there were maps drawn of the school, details, surveillance, entry points. At one point, she was a student at that school. There was a vehicle nearby that gave us a clue to who she was. So there you have it. I don't want to turn this thing political, but I guess I'm going to.
Okay.
Because the president did. But let me show you what happened today when the president came out. President Joe Biden. Did you see this today?
No.
Everybody broke in because you know how these things work with news conferences. You've seen them before.
Yes.
They give you like a 2-minute warning,
right,
before the president, whoever is going to speak, so you know how long the news stations can prepare to jump into the broadcast.
Right.
So I heard that there was a 2-minute warning. I still have some things that I know of that I can follow to get 2-minute warnings and stuff. And so I knew when the 2-minute warning was. So I'm assuming the president knew when he came out what he was going to talk about. And he obviously knew that there was a school shooting that happened today. I'm not trying to get political, but I'm going to. But this is what happened when the president took the stage to talk about the school shooting today.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? My name is Joe.
Now, was his response. Then he went on to tell some kids in the back to stand up, and he's laughing, giggling, talking about whatever, and then he immediately goes into we have to ban all guns and ban assault weapons, ban this, ban that. And his heart did go out to the families, of course, and as well it should. And then he talked about that, literally the school shooting for maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then went into whatever he was talking about again. This is the president of the United States. 3 children were shot and killed. 3 adults were shot and killed by a crazy woman who walked in there with guns and ready to go. And he was talking about chocolate chip ice cream. But besides that, then he immediately went to banning guns. And I saw on your post that immediately you went the gun route of saying how many people have been killed by physicians. And your story was from 2014. And then how many accidental gun deaths and everything else. This issue is not about guns, in my opinion, anymore. This issue is about a mental health crisis. This woman, regardless, these people that have guns are going to get guns. And by saying you want to go door to door and just start asking people or taking guns from people is almost insane at this point. What are they going to use to take your guns when they go to your door to take them? They're going to use guns. And if you're not going to talk about the Denver shooting the same way that you talked about this one, because it happened to be a black male with a pistol who shot at people a week or two ago, it's getting to the point of ridiculous. You're not going to go to the south side of Chicago and start going door to door and taking all their guns when there's mass shootings on a weekend, every weekend. It's getting ridiculous. So for the president to start singling out assault weapons once again, and we have to ban all guns and everything else, is getting on my nerves.
Okay.
So,
you done?
I'm done.
My turn.
For now.
First of all, that was a nice cut and edit piece.
That was not a cut and edit piece.
Well, no,
I watched it live. That was not a cut and edit piece.
So did I.
That's bullshit. It was not a cut and edit piece. And you know it. If you watch it live, then you know it.
Seth, let me rephrase then. It was a selectively cut representation of the whole minute. He walked down and spent a couple minutes interacting with the children as children. And then he said, I wanted to interact with the children for a while so that people start to realize that it's children that are getting shot, and then transferred into his. I'm not done yet. I didn't interrupt you.
It's not a time for laughing and giggling.
I didn't interrupt you. And yes, there was a laughter, and yes, it was a little bit lighthearted, but that's what made it even sadder. Because people, every single child that has died in this country and over and over again at these schools has parents, and that's what they miss, is the laughter, the potential, the cute little faces, the jokes, the giggling, and maybe the ice cream. Number two, he didn't say, let's ban all guns. But you tell me why a 28-year-old woman, transvestite, black guy, Indian chief, blind guy, whoever, needs 47 AK-47s or 2. Now, I know what the Second Amendment says, and I'm a firm believer of the Second Amendment. But what puzzles me is when it comes to abortion and other issues, the Supreme Court says we have to interpret the Constitution in the world and the way our forefathers intended. There wasn't a forefather intended that pictured us having that kind of death and destruction at our fingertips. The Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia. We can't get red flag laws or background checks out of the current Congress as it's constituted because, well, the Second Amendment, we're not allowed to do what? Background checks and registration? And then the third point is this, and this one pisses me off more than anything else. Everybody says if anything happens, or if so-and-so gets in trouble, or if the country gets even worse, we need these guns so that we can do something about it. Well, here's my question. What are you waiting for? This country once fought a revolution because they were going to raise the price of tea. The king is going to raise the price of tea. Bullshit. That was the American Revolution. All this crap goes on in the world, like I talked to you about, Ford, General Motors, the banking crisis, the 1%, and on and on and on and on. And we all sit here and throw rocks at each other saying, oh, you're a liberal, you're a Democrat, you're a conservative, you're a Republican. This isn't, we have a real problem with mental health. Guns are just maybe. But anybody who would walk into a school, it's a given. The other thing I don't like is people saying, well, criminals don't pay attention to gun laws. Well, they don't pay attention to murder laws, and they don't pay attention to bank robbery laws, and they don't take attention to drunk driving laws either. Are we supposed to throw those laws away because criminals don't obey the law? That's why they're criminals. That's why they go to jail. All I'm saying is this isn't an opportunity to make fun of a guy who wanted to spend a tender moment with the kids before he walked up to the podium and said, once again, our hearts, our thoughts, and our prayers go out to the other useless suckers that had to suffer the same fate as everybody else because we are too stupid in this country to do something about the wrong people having guns. Because if you look at the NRA, they don't want anybody to not be able to have a gun. And that's just as dangerous as the invisible threats to taking all the guns away.
One, are you done now?
Yeah,
Do
your
we
turn.
have a conversation? We're just gonna.
No, wait, go right ahead. Your turn.
One, it's an idiot move to go out there, and I don't care whether you want to call it a tender moment or not. When a tragedy like that happens in this country, you don't go out there and start laughing about chocolate chip ice cream. And I don't care who the hell is in front of you, whether it's a bunch of kids or whoever. The time at that time was to talk about what happened. And again, he wants to go to banning guns. And you want to talk about assault weapons and all that kind of what gun is not an assault weapon? If you're holding a handgun and you're pointing it at somebody and you shoot at them, that is an assault weapon. Guns are used to assault people. That's what they're used for. And so any gun is an assault weapon. And on top of that, what are you going to do? What is your solution? You want to go door to door and take guns from people that are actually law-abiding people?
No.
The people that actually do it
I want the
properly
people
and
that
everything
have
else?
guns to do the country a favor and take their cell phones outside and shoot them. Because that will do the country some good.
Maybe. Every gun I purchased came with a background check.
But it's not nationwide. We don't have national background checks.
That is a blatant lie about the NRA, Mike.
No, please. Do the research. How many times have you heard the NRA? And I've been following what the NRA has to say since 1968, when Bobby Kennedy got shot too. And they said any gun law starts us down a slippery slope. You are dead wrong about that being more than what comes out of the NRA's mouth. Because the other thing about the Constitution says a well-regulated militia. The Second Amendment doesn't say anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place can have as many powerful guns as they want. It says they shall pass no laws and they should maintain a well-regulated militia. Where's the well? Where's the regulated? And where's the militia? Because you don't even have to take a class and you can have unconcealed carry. Welcome to the Wild West.
The NRA has backed the Federal Firearms Act of 1938. The NRA supported the NFA along with the Gun Control Act of 1968, which together created a system of federally licensed gun dealers and established restrictions on particular categories and classes of firearms. So they do have.
It has nothing to do with background checks, has nothing to do with red flag laws, and those are the two that I told you they refused to come to the plate on. And all 1938 did was make sure that they couldn't make guns without registration numbers.
Yeah. I don't know what that means. So you do the research, Mike. Whatever.
Well, here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. I'm not omnipotent, and I don't claim to have all the answers.
What is your solution?
So do you. When you do, we both have the same opinions, and we believe them, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm asking, what is your solution, though? Do you want to take guns from people?
No, I don't want to take all guns from people. What I would like to do, though, is maybe convene a panel of 4, 5, 6 people on this show and spend a full 2 hours talking about all the dimensions. It is too complicated an issue to call names, belittle, make bad jokes, and claim that one president's better than the other.
Again, not talking about a president, talking about people that want to take away something that is rightfully theirs.
Well, here's
if I owned a gun, I don't own a gun. I wish I did, but I don't. If I owned a gun, I think that I'm a responsible person that wouldn't walk into a school or a movie theater or anywhere and start shooting people. If I have a gun, it's for my protection at my home. I'm not a hunter, so I'm not going to say that, but
Right.
I have the right to own one, and I would use it responsibly.
I
I
don't
know many
disagree with you.
people. I know many people that listen to the show. Some sponsors of the show, good friends of mine that own guns. They own long guns, if you want to call them that, assault weapons, whatever you want to call them, and they are responsible gun owners. They haven't gone in and shot up, and there's no mass shootings with these people, and it's there for their protection and their right to own them. Some of them use it for sport. Some of them use them for whatever the hell they want to use them for, but it's not for
Those are
bad
the
things.
people you don't have to worry about. I completely agree.
Again, when you're talking about politics and you talk about one side that generally wants to take those guns out of those people's hands, I have a problem with that.
Well, who are those people? They're certainly not the people you just described. Those people that we're talking about are the ones that stick a rifle out of a high-rise hotel window in Nevada and shoot 164 people in Las Vegas.
Okay, and here's the problem I have, and I've always had with these laws that you want to enact about mental health checks or background checks and this kind of stuff. You never know what's going to happen in somebody's life. Somebody may be a responsible gun owner, get the gun responsibly, do their thing, and everything's fine. The next day, their wife leaves them, they lose their job, and they have nothing, and they snap, go crazy, use that gun in a way that they probably shouldn't use it. Again, we can't judge everybody and see what they're going to be like, and you can't just take guns out of people's hands. It's not going to happen. So you have to come up with a better solution.
How about
I don't know what you do.
Instead of looking at it as taking guns out of people's hands, think of it as taking wacko people away from guns.
Okay, so how do you determine who the wacko people are? That's what I'm asking you.
Well, you make sure that if you buy a gun, that it's not for a heat of passion moment like you just talked about, and so you wait 72 hours before you can actually physically pick the gun up.
Again, that's fine to say that. What I'm saying is that responsible gun owner may have something that happens in their life, and they already have the gun at home, and they go crazy, they snap, they lose it for whatever reasons, and then they have that gun. So, unless you're talking about taking guns away from everybody, a background check isn't necessarily going to cause everything to be okie dokie.
That is everything that people on a jury throw up over when defense attorneys stand up and go, my client had some emotional things happen in his life. He used to be a really good guy, but his wife left him and he bought 6 scratch-off tickets and didn't win a dime, and his dog's not going to make it, and on and on and on and on.
So nobody ever snaps because something actually happens in their life that sucks. It's all, they're just bad people from the get-go. I refuse to believe
there are some people. I don't disagree with people going nuts and snapping and stuff like that happens. But you know what? Here's the other thing. People get mad and snap and kill people with knives too. I don't want to take knives away from everybody.
Why not? People snap and drive over people, run people down in a parade.
And I will say this from the beginning. I'm not here to overturn the Second Amendment or ban guns. But we need to do a better job of finding out who's got them and how. Let me ask you this.
There's never been a single mass shooting with a gun purchased that day
that we know of.
Well, I think by now we would know that.
Yeah, but there have been mass shootings by people that got their hands on a gun that day, from a parent, from an unlocked cabinet, from people that later said, "Oh my God, we didn't know my son had that." Yeah, that's my whole point. Murder has been against the law forever. And I'm the first guy to tell you, and I've said it on stage a million times, Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel. 4 people on the planet in paradise, and one of them has to kill somebody. So maybe that's the way we're made. Maybe that's just the way we're made. I don't have a problem with that. But my point is, if you think about it in a big enough way to encompass all the idiosyncrasies and all of that stuff, oh, Jesus Christ, the Twin Towers wasn't the thing. And you know what? Here's my story, Chris. Here's the thing about today. Biden didn't want to walk up again and sound like a parrot, saying the same thing, the same way, in the same way.
He
For
did
him
2
to
minutes after he talked about chocolate ice cream. He
Wait a
did.
minute. For him to say, I'm going to connect with the kids on their level for a minute and then look the parents in the eye, which is what he did, was a hell of a lot more creative and sincere and from the heart thing than just going up there saying, today in Nashville, once again, the country shed a tear over 6 people, and on and on and on.
You know,
That's my
maybe
whole point.
maybe would have been the appropriate thing to do if you're the president of the United States. Maybe not go down to that event real quick and stay up somewhere where they can record you or play you saying something about the event that happened. Then when you're done, you can go down and joke with the kids and have your little tender moment. And if you want to have a private conversation with them, then fine. But you look like an ass when news stations break in and they're talking. He's talking about his chocolate chip ice cream upstairs.
I'll chalk that one up to Fox. Because you look like an ass if Fox goes, ladies and gentlemen, here's a clip of an ass. You don't look like an ass if Fox News had said, here's
Fox News didn't say, see, this is exactly what I knew you were going to do. Fox News didn't say shit about him doing that. That was a channel that I happened to be watching, but they went to it, and I thought he looked like an ass. So did the people that I saw react to it. He looked like an asshole.
That wasn't my point.
Go up there
my point
and
was,
do your little event. Fox News didn't have shit to do with it.
How come you get to
I wonder if CNN's going to report that it was a transgender who did the shooting.
I'm sure they will. They're not afraid of stuff.
CNN's terrified of stuff.
No, I'm sorry.
But you want to accuse Fox of doing something. They didn't do anything. They did. They went to
I didn't
when
say
they
they did.
To
I was using that as an example. Seth, you didn't let me finish the point. If Fox had said, here's somebody relating to the kids for a moment first, everybody would have said it's okay. It's what you're told.
Oh, nobody had to tell me to think that he looked like an ass. I mean,
well,
if you want to take the time to have a tender moment with the kids, don't go on camera when there's a school shooting. Go on camera before that, talk to the country, tell them what you have to put your heart out there and everything else. Then go down to your event that's not going to be on camera for everybody to see.
This was the perfect moment. When you invite all those kids and all those parents to be downstairs, for him to choose to relate to the kids first, then raise his eyes up, look at the parents and go, unfortunately, we can't stop there. This is what we have to talk about.
Yeah,
it was a brilliant segue.
It's the perfect political move to do in front of a bunch of kids and their parents to talk about school shootings and banning guns again. I mean,
well, so what? He hired the transgender to go buy a couple of assault rifles and
it was his perfect political opportunity to go up there and talk to the kids about school shootings and banning guns and how bad guns are. And we got to get rid of all of them.
I told you before I knew you were even going to play that clip that the sad thing for me was those kids holding hands and leading each other across the street.
Absolutely.
That's part of their life. And this, I hate to keep, I don't hate to do this. I love this, and this is why I'm here. Once again, it comes around to the big picture of these are the changes that are going on in the world, and it doesn't bother anybody. And all the bitching and moaning and finger pointing and calling names and belittling and on and on and on is an excuse for rolling up our sleeves and being part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
You're absolutely right. And Chris is right on this too, but you're absolutely right. You should not be belittling people, but I didn't bring up Fox News or CNN. You did. I didn't say where I saw it. I didn't say anything about Fox News. I didn't say
those are
anything
minor
about CNN.
Points.
You brought up Fox News. You're the one that wants to divide sometimes. Points. You are the one that wants to divide sometimes when nobody brought up what news station, nobody brought up anything like that. Nobody did.
No, I was starting to pay a compliment to Fox, but you jumped all over my ass before I finished.
Our president.
The rest of my point was, if they had said, then people would have felt completely different.
You don't need to. You shouldn't have to describe what the president is doing. He should be able to come on and say what he wants to say.
Gunner, and anybody else that read this and chuckled, Google President Trump on May 13th of 2020 announcing the stimulus payment for everybody. Watch that speech. He is more incoherent in the 2 minutes that speech takes than any clip I've seen about supposedly Joe Biden.
And again, I'm going to just say this, and thank God we have a comedian coming up. Maybe he'll add something to the show. But for you to say something like that is so fucked up again, because
why?
You do this all the time. Nobody is talking about President Trump. President Trump was years ago.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was in Waco, Texas last night saying that there's going to be death and destruction if he gets indicted. Don't tell me he's invisible when 48%.
Is he the president of the United States right now? No, he's not.
No, but
you can't get him out of your head. Do you pay Trump rent?
He won't get out of everybody's head.
You must. I've never seen somebody more obsessed.
I'm not obsessed
with another man than you. I mean, it's shocking. And I've known guys that love guys.
Watch some of the man on the street. Watch some of the man on the street interviews with people that are at his rally, and then talk to me about people obsessed with Trump.
Oh man, I've been to his rallies.
How many times have you been on the news today?
Trump. You know what? But I don't wake up thinking about him. It's shocking to me that everything that comes out of your mouth has to do with Donald Trump.
I wake up,
but yet you want to unite people and bring people together, except for anybody that likes Donald Trump.
No, those are the people that have to give it up to get to the middle.
Oh, Jesus,
that is all part of uniting.
Our president doesn't need to. I mean, it's really it's kind of sad. It's sad.
I mean, for you to sit there and tell me I'm obsessed with a guy that walked away.
You are obsessed with him. You put it on Facebook all the time. I mean, it's really kind of weird. It's slightly like I worry about you. I know you have a girlfriend and everything, but I worry that everything's not okay when you constantly obsess with one guy. You can't think about what the guy is doing now in the office. You just are constantly obsessed what the previous president did. I don't get it. I just don't.
Okay, then you haven't been paying attention to what you have not been paying attention then as to why Jim Jordan, Marjorie Taylor Greene, McCarthy, McConnell, Speaker of the House, why every single DeSantis are all scared shitless of his shadow. The fact that he made the phone call that put McCarthy over into the speaker's job at 5 o'clock in the morning.
DeSantis backing down from him at all. I don't see him backing down at all. I see people that actually support changing this government a little bit. But again, my point wasn't Trump at all.
So don't tell me he's
why you're so obsessed. You continue to talk about him. It's really weird. It's really weird how some people on the left just don't think about anything but Donald Trump. Biden could light the White House on fire, and you would say it's because of Donald Trump that he did it.
How come every single surprise ambush, you're not going to like this video you play, is of Joe Biden?
Well, because he's the president of the United States.
Okay, and how many times did you play videos about Trump when he was president that showed him to be a moron?
Holy shit. You have no idea how many times I've played videos of Donald Trump. And one, Donald Trump hasn't been president since we started doing the show, and I would have played him here. And I played him 1 billion times on the show that I was on previous. So don't tell me how I did my job. I know what I did, and I played him numerous times. Every time that guy said something stupid, I said it. When he was tweeting
well, then you know what? You were obsessed too because he did it like 10,000 times a day.
No, I was doing my job.
No, I'm saying you had that much material to work with.
No, I didn't. But I actually did my job, and I was always mad when he tweeted something stupid. I said he should have put it down.
Back to the big picture. This is
exactly right. Gunner, you're right. Trump derangement syndrome. They call it that for a reason.
Back to the big picture. Are we going to put together 5 or 6 people and talk about what to do about guns?
Yeah.
We should.
We should.
Why not?
As long as you don't bring up Trump, because that's what you do all the time. Unity comes later, but in the heat of a conflict, leadership and resolve have to take charge. Unity gets handled after leadership solidifies solutions. Yep.
Okay,
we have Jay Boc coming up in just a minute. Hopefully, maybe he's not obsessed with Trump, and we'll talk about something different. Hang on. Hey, it's Seth from Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road in the Pleasant Valley Shopping Center, right next to Big Lots. You got to check out Mario, man. Great guy, does a lot for charities, but can perform miracles with hair. He even made me look clean cut. Does my hair, does a great job. Love talking to the guy while I'm sitting there. It's a great place to go, local business. You gotta go to Mario's Barbershop in Parma. Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road. Again, in Parma, Pleasant Valley Shopping Center, right next to Big Lots. Or give them a call, 216-520-1977. That's 216-520-1977, Mario's Barbershop in Parma.
Trust Joe's Lakewood Computer at 14035 Madison in Lakewood. They have over 30 years of professional service handling laptop and desktop repair services, virus removal, and data migration, and much more. You can trust them with hardware updates to your computer's memory and hard drive. Call 216-651-3880. Whether you need a simple Windows install or you're interested in the latest computers for gaming, call Joe's Lakewood Computer at 216-651-3880.
This is Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers for attorney Will Spiegelberg. Will Spiegelberg is not only a name you know, he's someone you can trust as your attorney no matter the circumstance. Will Spiegelberg is an attorney you can always count on. Will Spiegelberg is the attorney you should contact for all your legal work. When you need an attorney, call Will Spiegelberg at 216-233-4240. Attorney Will Spiegelberg, a great teammate. 216-233-4240.
Right back here, the Seth Williams Show with Mike Jaselka. During that last break, I got a call from Donald Trump, Mike, and he'd like to move out of your head if that's possible. I don't know. Do you have any free time? No. I'll help with the furniture.
Okay.
Let's go to Jay Boc, comedian.
Hey guys.
Hey Jay,
hey, how are you?
Good.
What's going on? So what do you think?
Just living the dream here.
Did you like that conversation about our former president like 3 years ago that we still can't forget about?
It still amazes me. I don't know what everybody's going to talk about if he doesn't win the Republican nomination, but
I know what's going to happen. We'll still talk about it. That's what'll happen. So we got a great thing going on. A fantastic event. We're proud to be a part of it. I know Mike is, and is going to do a great job with it, and we're looking forward to this. So let's tell everybody what's going on.
Okay, well, we've got this huge fundraiser, actually 5 different shows to raise money for the people of East Palestine. And so we're going to have 5 shows throughout different parts of northwestern Ohio, I guess you would classify it. We've got Medina, we've got Massillon, we've got Cuyahoga Falls, which will cover the Akron area. We've actually got East Palestine. That'll be our final show. And we got Columbiana, which is our kickoff show.
It sounds great, Mike. You know all about this. So
yes,
what's going to be happening?
Jay found a charity based there, boots on the ground, knows exactly what all those people need, know how to get the resources to everybody else. And this is what I really am amazed with Jay Boc, the way he put this all together. There isn't a single dime that's going to touch a comic's hands or Jay's hands or a promoter's hands or anybody. The way you participate in this is you go to the site, and we can put that up after I let Jay talk about it, and you donate, and then you get a receipt once you donate. That receipt gets you into the shows. So it's clean, it's simple, and just like you and I and Triv were proud to associate with Coats for Kids because all the money went to the Coats for Kids, the same thing's going to happen here. No matter what anybody decides to donate, all that money is going to help the people in East Palestine. It's going right to them.
I mean, that's very cool because I actually have been there with my family. We went and saw the derailment. We could see it from where we were parked, and there's a lot of things going on there. I know that they just recently had to dig up more soil over there, which affected some people again. So, yeah, they definitely need stuff, without a doubt.
And Jay, tell us a little bit about what the comics' response were when you started to make some calls and the word got out.
The response to the comics was actually overwhelming. I mean, I was very pleasantly surprised. I mean, you and I have been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. So we know a lot of the comics, and I barely put the word out. And all of a sudden I had people like, what can I do? How can I help you out? Just tell me what you want. I've got comics. I would have been happy just to have them do one show. Comics are like, hey, however many shows you need me, put me down for all 5, put me down for 3. Can I do this venue? Can I do that venue? To the point to where it's really turned into a who's who of Ohio comedy at any one of these shows you go to. And like you said, the beauty of it is people go to the way station. They'll, as if they were making any other donation to any other nonprofit, they click on a button, they just designate comedy show, and they can print that out, use it as their tax deduction, and they can also use it to get into the shows. and let a little secret out. We're asking for $20 donation from people, but nobody's checking that. So it's like if you just showed up and you didn't even have a ticket, nobody's going to throw you out. We'll have the QR codes there. If you show up without the ticket, you may decide, hey, look, I've got 6, 7, 8 headliner comics here. This show is worth $200. Maybe they'll just decide to donate $200 the night of the show. Whatever they want. We're not twisting anybody's arm.
Right. And the other thing that's cool,
it's the waystationinc.org, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Waystationinc.org. I put that up on the comments so people can see it and they can click on it and do whatever they want to do. So,
and Seth, we picked them principally because we didn't have to deal with the money, that people could donate directly to them. Because there's other charities and stuff too. Some of them didn't have boots on the ground. Some of them didn't have the technology that they have to be able to make the donation. And I didn't want to be handling money. Although that being said, I will tell you the kickoff show in Columbiana, there's a chance that our contact at the way station may be there. So they may pass a hat there, but then it would go directly to the contact from the way station. The comics and us, we wouldn't have anything to do with it anyway.
And here's the other beauty about the way this is set up. We're doing the 4 shows that take place over a month to raise the money and the awareness and get as many people as possible to donate something to the people in East Palestine. But then City East Palestine is going to give us their high school gymnasium packed full of as many seats as possible. And then we are going to go down and do a free show for as many adults in that city as we can pack into that gym, just to give them a few laughs after all they've been through. That was a hell of an idea, Jay.
That was the no-brainer part.
Well,
it seems like a very cool thing. It really does. I'm looking forward to being a part of this. And the comedians are going to be all over the place, right? And can they see a list of where all the events are going to be at the way station?
Actually, I just got Mike. I don't know if you got it, but
yeah,
there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Stone who just minutes ago sent me the flyer, and the locations are going to be the Columbiana Cultural Collective in Columbiana. Obviously, that's April 11th. That's our kickoff show. April 25th, we're in Medina at the Medina Nazarene Church. So that's going to be a cleaner show. So if there's a show that, you're worried about taking your grandparents to or something, that might be the one you want to go to.
Yeah, but to tell them, if they go to the church show, 2 of their venial sins and 1 of their mortal sins is forgiven. So it's kind of a trade-off.
I don't know if the Nazarenes are into that. So
I know, I'm kidding.
But I will tell you, the Nazarenes did step forward. The Catholics didn't return my calls. So
yeah,
so I'm throwing a little guilt back their way now. So at least they can really show up and help these people out. May 2nd, we're down in Massillon at Crackpots Comedy Club, which is a nice place down there. May 8th, we're at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls. Shout out to Pete. It took him all of 2.5 seconds to say, Jay Boc, you used my place. So I'm thrilled with that. And then the final show is May 23rd in East Palestine. And again, we're doing that primarily for the residents of East Palestine, but nobody's checking driver's licenses to make sure you are there. I mean, if we end up adding more, great. The hardest part, to tell you the truth, was getting the venues. And all the shows are going to be on Tuesday nights because I was asking the venues to donate their facility, and I didn't want to take away from their weekend business. And once we started on Tuesdays, for simplicity's sake, every one of them is going to be on a Tuesday. So
that makes sense too.
If there's somebody out in Lorraine or somewhere else that has 100-seat venue and they want to get added to this, reach out to me because we'll do as many shows as we can help. My concern is, and I heard you guys talking about the shooter before going on. The problem is I think East Palestine's rapidly falling out of the news cycle. And these people still have to live with it long after, it's no longer being broadcast anywhere.
And in addition to that, everybody was talking about, what those people need. And you sit at home and you picture and stuff like that. And they got donations of blankets and food and water and all those types of things. But in this situation, the way the accident was and what really happened there, it's not like the town had all kinds of destruction of homes and streets and businesses. It was the water and the air. So when I found out through Jay that the waste station had told them, everybody here wants new air filters. Duh. I would have never guessed that sitting at home here in Cleveland. So your money puts all new air filters in all the houses down there. You can go to bed at night and breathe a little easier. No pun intended, but feel better about, their house.
And that's the benefit of working with somebody who's actually in the community, because I had assumed water, right? And the first thing the lady said was, "You're not bringing water, are you? Because we don't have anywhere else to store it." And so what do you need? And she goes, air filters, air, not fresheners, the things that recycle your air purifiers. And so they can turn on a dime as the people need something. Maybe a business just needs a little cash infusion because they had to throw away their inventory and it wasn't insured or whatever. They're right there so they can respond to people. Maybe it's just food. Maybe they just need to get their hands on some food.
That's one thing. I mean, I've been watching obviously a lot of this stuff. I don't know the government has done a whole lot to help them over there, and I know that Norfolk Southern certainly hasn't done a whole lot. I mean, these people want their houses sold because the property values are down. Everything is down in that area now because of this. And like you said, it's kind of leaving the news cycle. It's going away. People don't think about it, and they need to not be forgotten here. So I think it's a great thing.
Well, Seth, you're right, because I think the local government's doing what they can.
Yeah.
They're just not equipped for something of this magnitude.
No.
Right.
I think, the feds probably could have done more, but the local government is just, I'm out here in, Seville, Lodi, Westfield Center area. We got trains that run through here all the time. And if something happened out here, I know Lodi couldn't move on a dime to handle something of this magnitude. And so I kind of identified with, a rural community where it's like, oh, great. Now what do we do? Nobody anticipated something like this ever happening.
And the big fear down there also is the fact that, what are we, a couple weeks away, if not starting right now? They got to put their seeds in the ground if they're going to be able to farm any of that land. And you want to make sure that the land and the water that they irrigate it with is potable, farmable, and isn't going to cause more problems.
Well, the EPA says everything's fine.
Of course they do.
That's what they told the Marines at Camp Lejeune too, but I'm sure that's nothing to do with it.
Well, I'm happy to be a part of this with Mike, and the show is, and of course the CMS Network, Chris Aiken has joined on as well.
Yes.
We're going to be promoting this all over his network. So the CMS Network is a big part of this too.
I appreciate it, guys.
We're going to try to get this thing rolling, and hopefully it'll be a great event, and I think it's going to be cool. I want to get to some of these comedy shows. I was hoping they're on Wednesday nights, so that way Mike wouldn't be here for the show, and get somebody that wasn't talking about Trump all the time. But Tuesday nights is a good night to have it, so Mike will be here.
You think you'll be able to come out to one?
I'm going to make this promise in front of Jay, Seth.
Yeah.
Trump is so far at the end of the tunnel, and I have no problem getting rid of him. What I'm going to start doing from now on is start talking about where the problem started. And from now on, instead of talking about Trump, I will be talking about Ronald Reagan.
There you go.
Okay.
Forget about, Bill Clinton. But, we don't talk about Bill Clinton smoking cigars out of women. That's not a big deal. We leave those kind of guys out because they happen to be lefties. But it is fine. You can talk about whoever you want to talk about. Ronald Reagan, the greatest president of all time.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was great because he didn't know what he was doing. So that was good.
Jimmy had Billy. Okay. So,
yeah. Everybody had somebody. The other thing is too, and what we're doing here on the show and with Jay's help and guidance too, is like Jay finished saying, the shows are all going to be on Tuesday, which means next week we're going to have Bill Stone, who's doing all the publicity and is the one that's going to let everybody know that the show's involved, everything that Chris is doing and the network is doing. But then after Bill, we can have a comic that's going to be in each and every one of the shows leading up to the show that's going to be that the next night, Tuesday. And then who knows, over the next 5 weeks, Seth, anything could happen between the network and between the show. Maybe on Monday we have somebody from the charity on from East Palestine, et cetera, et cetera. So we're happy to help. But there's going to be a stream of comics, and part of it's coincidence, part of it's timing. But Seth and I have been discussing maybe adding a comedic segment to the show. And you got to kick it off, Jay, and your work certainly set a high bar, but we hope to have comics on a regular basis, and it'll be a welcome addition to the show.
I'm sure the comics will love it and appreciate everything you guys do. Can I just mention to people, if they happen to miss your show, which is a big loss on their part, if they find me on Facebook, it's JayBoc. I'll just be promoting the crap out of this. So there's no way you're going to miss it if you're following me on Facebook.
Great.
Fantastic stuff, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight and talking about this, the waystationinc.org. Be a part of this. You get to see some comedy, help out East Palestine, and I think it's going to be a good event. So thank you.
Who knows? Maybe Dave Chappelle will get wind of it and stop in as a surprise guest somewhere.
He's from Ohio. We can only hope, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well,
send us, have Bill send Seth some of the artwork, or at least the flyer, so that we can get some pictures up too.
Yeah. Great, we'll get that to you.
And we'll put this information. We'll put this information and everything else on our website too, so anybody can watch, be a part of that too.
Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be talking soon. We'll get that flyer up and everything else. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. See you
soon. Bye. Jay Boc, comedian, doing a good event for East Palestine. The waystationinc.org. I think it's going to be cool.
I do too, and it's another example of everybody in Ohio dropping everything and doing what needs to be done. I'm really happy to be working with this group.
Fantastic. All right. We want to take a break, and we'll get back to some gun stuff, since that seems to be the hot topic of the day. Well, I guess we
a few more too. We got some others too. Let's do the church thing when you come back too.
We could do the church thing, but we can wrap up the gun thing though.
I agree.
I don't mean to get on your case about this Trump stuff.
I can take it,
but it just seems like there is this thing out there with the anti-Trump people that they just don't stop talking about him.
Okay, but you haven't stopped talking about it. I haven't said Trump in 45 minutes. You've said it 55 times.
You said you're the one who brought it up to begin with. And so my point is that there was, in a conversation like we were having about gun control, Joe Biden, with what he did today, and about, because he is the current president of the United States, and about school shootings and that kind of thing, there's no need to constantly bring up the same guy from years ago. If he becomes president again, which I hope, maybe then we can have all kinds of discussions about it. But it seems like a pointless just argument anymore, because there's nothing to argue about. He's not in charge.
I agree. It doesn't have to be an argument. Tone it down and let's just talk.
No toning it down. I'm just tired of talking about him. It gets boring. It gets boring from
everybody. You heard my promise. You heard my promise. I made it in front of another comic. I will go back 60 years and we'll talk about the seeds that were sown and we'll go from there.
All right. We'll be right back and we'll talk about something kind of interesting going on locally, which I think is bad, but hang on. Hey, it's Seth for Smokin' Rock and Roll Food Trucks. You got to check them out, man. The food is just unbelievable. Mac and cheese is fantastic. The brisket, everything else is just to die for. You got to check out Smokin' Rock and Roll. 605 Clague Parkway in Bay Village. You can give them a call, 216-539-2239 to book a food truck. Find out where they're going to be at. They're going to be all over the place, especially when the spring and summer hits. It's unbelievable food. They win awards all over the place. Run by my good friend Billy Morris and his friend Todd. They're good people, and they make great food. You got to check it out. Smokin' Rock and Roll, smokinrockandroll.com.
Aaron Tees and Signs has become your complete one-stop sign shop. Call Jimmy at 216-299-9344. Their friendly and professional staff can and will help you build your company brand and identity from start to finish. One stop means you get a complete package from one location.
custom logo design, vehicle graphics, banners, t-shirts, storefront marquees, and so much more. Aaron Tees and Signs, 4883 Turney Road. Call us at 216-299-9344.
Hey, it's for Audio Bay Studios in Bay Village. And now if you need a podcast done, you got a band, you got to record some stuff, Audio Bay Studios is the place to go. Trained technicians, good management there. I'm telling you, Audio Bay Studios has helped me out tremendously with my podcast. You want to go there, Audio Bay Studios, 605 Clegg Parkway in Bay Village. It's right next to, or in the same building, I should say, as Smokin' Rock and Roll. Some of the best barbecue food trucks in town. The best barbecue food trucks in town. I'm telling you, you got to check out Audio Bay Studios. I know the guy, Chris Aiken. I know the guy, Billy Morris. They're good people. They take care of you. Audio Bay Studios. If you got a podcast that you want to start recording, Audio Bay Studios in Bay Village is the place to be. 605 Clegg Parkway. Give them a call. 216-713-0066. That's 216-713-0066. All right, back here on the Seth Williams Show with Mike Chiselka. Talking all kind of stuff tonight. But I want to get into something a little bit different. I was kind of trying to hope to see if I can get a video playing before the end of that break, but apparently it's taking a very long time to load up. But maybe I'll save it for another night. But it's worth
We have
playing.
one more break after that, too. Maybe if you come up later, we can still finish whatever you want to do. We can talk a little bit more about.
All right, hang on a second. Let me see.
Second memo. We can wait for the video.
Hey, here we go.
There are still those who believe America is weakening, that our glory was the brief flash of time called the 20th century, that ours was a burst of greatness too bright and brilliant to sustain, that America's purpose is past. My friends, I utterly reject those views. That's not the America we know. We were meant to be masters of destiny, not victims of fate. Who among us would trade America's future for that of any other country in the world? And who could possibly have so little faith in our American people that they would trade our tomorrow for our yesterday? I'll give you a hint. They put on quite a production in New York a few weeks ago. Over and over, they told us they are not the party they were. They kept telling us with straight face that they're for family values. They're for a strong America. They're for less intrusive government. And they call me an actor. Hear them talk, you'd never know that the nightmare of nuclear annihilation has been lifted from our sleep. You'd never know that our standard of living remains the highest in the world. You'd never know that we remain the one nation the rest of the world looks to for leadership. But we knew then what the liberal Democrat leaders just couldn't figure out. The sky would not fall if America restored her strength and resolve. The sky would not fall if an American president spoke the truth. The only thing that would fall was the Berlin Wall.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding?
Well, quite a difference. Anyways, what's going on out east there, Mike? We'll talk about this.
Well, I'll tell you.
I think it's kind of a big story.
You gave that speech, and then going back to gun control, where everybody said, oh my God, this is a mental health problem. He closed every state mental hospital in the country. He took the tax rate and cut the 70%, 40% tax rate for those making millions and billions and and cut it down and said trickle-down economics would work. And trickle-down economics has been the bane of this country for all of that kind of time. It's frightening. He's also the guy.
I'll tell you what's frightening. You want me to play the video again?
No.
Chocolate chip ice cream upstairs. Thank God for that. There we go. All right. So what's going on East in our churches?
Oh man. You informed me of a local story, and I went to Channel 5, Channel 8. They've all got, video, and they've all got some stuff and things about the fact that a church that hosted a drag show for adults at the church had some damage done to the outside. I guess they knocked down a sign, and somebody claimed that a Molotov cocktail was thrown, but it missed everything. And to make a long story short, but that got to be the issue of the day because their question was, oh my God, we're adults. We didn't sell tickets to kids, and they're not inside any schools. So what's the big beef? And again, I will say, lots and 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 lots of people of all ages, both parties, liberal, conservative, whatever, have all of a sudden decided that we need to hate those that are cross-dressers. And so I spent some time today researching cross-dressing. And not only did it start back in the day of the ancient Greeks and Romans, where women weren't allowed on the stage, and so younger boys played the parts of women in all the Greek tragedies and all the great Roman theater masterpieces. Then came along William Shakespeare, who had all kinds of gender fluidity and mystery regarding the motivation behind characters and all that stuff and things back in the 1500s. And he, after all, was Shakespeare, and his birthday's later this month. And I'm sitting there going, how am I going to make this play and show people that cross-dressing, transgenders, gay people have been around for way too long, but now it's a convenient political stone to throw. And the last thing that occurred to me about an hour before we started this show is, it wasn't that long ago that everybody in this country would laugh out loud every time Benny Hill would make a joke and run off stage and come back. And so did and Monty Python. British humor is based on somebody being able to run off stage and run back on stage in a dress. Cute.
All right, so let me get this straight. In your mind, that this is a political stunt to make fun of or hate cross-dressers.
Currently.
Are you?
I think all of the culture wars are.
You're
all
kidding,
of the
right?
culture wars are orchestrated.
So you're telling me in a church that you supposedly go to on a weekly basis, you've been taught in your life that it's okay now to have children have a story hour with people that are cross-dressing, and that this is okay to have our children in front of. Look, I don't care what the hell you do. You want to dress like a woman? I don't care what the hell you want to do, Mike. In your personal time, I'm sure you have a dress or two in your closet that look very nice on you.
All right.
Maybe you dress like an alien. Whatever it is you do in your personal time is fine with me, but I don't want my child to be a part of it. I don't want my kids to be a part of it. I don't want my church teaching that kind of stuff.
When have you heard any of the stuff that's been in the media, in the paper, on the news, on social media, use the word only? We only want to make sure that they don't go into the schools. No, it's a real broad brush, and all of a sudden,
it's not a broad brush at all.
His ugly tentacles.
It's not a broad brush at all.
It's just about that.
You go on TikTok, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. If I don't want to look at it, I can flip right by it.
You got to pay for it.
You shouldn't be doing it in a public library where children are. You shouldn't be doing it at churches or schools. As a parent, I think I have the damn right anymore in this country to control what my kids see and don't see. And for you to sit here and say that it's okay to stick into churches,
say
it's okay. I'm not making fun of transgender people.
Seth, I never
don't care.
said that.
You just said it's a political thing. It's not a political thing. It's a parental thing.
Both things can be true.
It's a
It is
parental
a
thing.
political thing and a parental thing. And I'll tell you why it's a parental thing, and it's not for the reasons you mentioned. It's the age of the kids. Nobody should be explaining anything that has to do with what's going to happen to their bodies and their minds and their emotions as they get older. Nobody should be more involved in that than the parents. As a matter of fact, they're the only ones that have a right to teach their kids how they teach their kids and how they bring them up.
So don't put it in schools, don't put it in libraries, and don't do that kind of thing.
That's all. But it is so much more than that.
I'm certainly not condoning violence. I'm not condoning what they did to that church.
I don't change the subject. What I'm saying
cocktail is ridiculous.
I completely agree with you as far as parents having the right to do that with their kids. But as part of the whole culture war things, every single one of them is stretched and blown out of proportion because it's easy to scare
people. That's such crap, dude. That's such crap because you know what? They're winning the culture wars. That's who's winning is the people that want to do different things. It's a vocal minority that is actually winning the culture wars.
Anything. What are they winning?
Look, if you sit there and you say anything about a trans person or a cross-dresser or anything like that, you're a bigoted, hateful person. And that's not true. That's not true at all.
Okay,
just because I don't think it's appropriate to put in front of children, and I don't want children to be mutilated across this country, doesn't mean I'm a hateful, bigoted person. That doesn't mean that at all.
Where's the mutilation link?
Because in certain states are allowing and fighting for children to be able to choose whether they want to be their gender or not, and do it without parental consent. That's ridiculous.
Okay, and that's not. Thank you.
Conditioning this behavior as normal, forced appreciation, condemnation, or on anyone that thinks it's a mental illness. That's true. This country is being forced to accept certain things that haven't been right for years, and maybe that doesn't make it right, but I don't know. But I don't think it's right to force that kind of thing on kids, my kid, or anything else. That should not be an option for an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 16-year-old.
I wouldn't even use the word forced. I don't
absolutely
think they should be introduced to it.
But they're forcing it.
Go even farther than that. They shouldn't even be introduced to it because that is the parents' number one job is raising their kids.
Once again, false info, Mike. The church in Chesterland supports a drag show for children being held in Chardon this weekend.
But they also had a show on their property too. Yoy.
Okay, but what he's saying is correct.
I didn't say they didn't support it. I was talking about the show in Chesterland or Westmont hasn't happened yet. The violence was because of what they already did.
I don't know what happened to the church that I grew up with. I mean, you can call me old-fashioned. I'm only in my 40s.
I'm not old-fashioned. Here's what I ponder. Here's what
I'm asking. Wait, I was saying something. I don't know what happened to the church that I grew up with. When I grew up with the church, I was taught that abortion was wrong, that certain things were just wrong. And now all of a sudden, it's the church is supporting things that I was never taught was okay.
Support's a strong word. There's that old, love the sinner, hate the sin, and tolerate everybody else and this, that, and that thing. But here's the mystery. From a philosophical or from a theological point of view, you can read the Bible from cover to cover. There was homosexual behavior during the time of Christ. He walked around this planet for 3+ years. He never talked about gay people once.
Okay.
He never even brought it up.
So what's your point?
So my point is, the bigger picture is how we all get along as a group, not unfiltering through everything.
I'm so tired of, forgive me, and maybe I'll sound insensitive here, but I'm so tired of hearing this crap about we all got to get along as a group. There's nothing in the law, nothing in the Bible that says I need to like everybody.
Really?
I mean,
you are your brother's keeper.
That's fine. Look, I don't. But there are certain things I don't have to like you.
Turn the other cheek when you don't like what somebody did.
Exactly. I may have to turn the other cheek. It doesn't mean I have to like you. It doesn't mean I have to like you. I don't
Yeah,
have to
well,
like
how do you
everybody
do
that roams
without
around the
liking?
earth.
You're
I
right,
don't have to
Seth.
like everybody's
It doesn't
decisions.
say like everybody. The Bible says you have to love everybody. And
Okay,
that's
you know what?
way
I
beyond
love
the
you, but
ability
sometimes
to
I really don't
come
like
on.
you. You understand that, right? I love you as a person, and I do, because you've been there for me through a lot of things. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of times where I fucking don't like you for the
Fine.
things that you say.
You brought up and said the Bible doesn't say we have to like each other.
Don't.
And
I
told
don't have
you
to like
it says
anybody.
you have to love everybody.
I don't have to
There's a
like
difference.
anybody. I do love everybody. I don't have to like everybody.
Okay,
I don't have to,
but
I'm
you know
not
what?
murdering people, but you know
If
what? I'm
you
not going
love
to associate myself
somebody-
with certain people.
If you
because I think
love
they're making
somebody
the
and
wrong
don't like
decisions.
them, you keep it to yourself.
That's not, I don't have to do. Why does everybody else get to say what they want to say, but I don't?
Well, see, now the
Why
Bible
is that?
doesn't
Why is
say-
that the case? Why is it that everybody else, every cross-dresser gets to say what they want to say and do shows for kids, and it's wrong if I say I don't like it, but I'm not allowed to
No,
say
it's
that I don't
not
like
wrong.
it. Absolutely.
I told
is.
you.
I'm
Gee.
labeled a bigot and a hateful person if I say
Not by me.
I don't agree with that decision.
All right, well, go argue with those people then. I'm the one that told you right off the bat.
You don't
that
think
it is a
society does
parent's
that? You don't think that-
decision for
don't think our-
reasons you didn't even get into.
You don't think our country
Children
has
shouldn't be
changed to that point where I can't dislike somebody without being a bigot or a hateful person? I'm allowed to not like people. I'm not allowed to say I don't think the trans or cross-dressing or whatever is appropriate. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's right to have kids be taught it. I don't think it's right to have kids doing it. And I can't say that because if I do, then I'm labeled a horrible, horrible person.
By who?
By mainstream society anymore.
Okay,
That's what it
and
comes
here's the
down
other
to.
thing.
By
Here's
the
other
liberal
thing.
side, to be honest with
The
you.
Bible also says live your life and don't give a crap about what other people say or think about you. So don't sit here and tell me, oh my God, people are going to think or people are going to label me. That's exactly what's wrong. That's the chain I'm trying to break around everybody's throat that listens to this show. And I'm not saying everybody listens has the chain. I'm saying anybody nationwide that's listening to this show, that's the problem with trying to communicate in this country. You're allowed to think and feel and do and act because that's what motivates your behavior. But your behavior better conform with not hurting anybody else and taking care of everybody else. And that's why it was not a small thing when he decided there shouldn't be any more mental hospitals, because look what's happened with 60 years of people living in the streets and having kids and just wandering around. And now they have guns too.
It all goes back to him. We're
No,
going
it
to talk about
doesn't
some
go back
40
to
years
him.
ago. That's fine. Whatever.
It goes way back. And here's the other thing. There's one other story. Banks cutting off account here. Bingo.
Easy to say, Mike, but labels now find banks cutting off accounts, jobs firing you, and your livelihood destroyed because you have an opinion that doesn't go along with this woke society. That's absolutely true.
That's what I'm fighting too. But we're not going to get there unless we focus our attention on that crap and stop fighting with each other over the kind of stuff that's in the news and on social media every day. I'll give you the biggest example of this, and I hope you caught it too. You also sent me a story today about how Ford Motor Company claims they're going to lose $3 billion because of electric cars.
Yes.
If you read paragraph
3.1 billion.
If you read paragraph 3, it's because Ford unilaterally has changed the way they are deciding to record and categorize profits. That they're going to say they took this loss.
I mean, that's a good company line. I mean, that's no doubt a good company line.
I get that. But what they're also saying in paragraph 4 is by 2026, they're going to make 8% over profits beyond their actual cost. Now, step back for a minute, because how many times have I said this? Electric cars didn't happen 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago. And for them all of a sudden now to say, oh my God, we're losing $3 billion. They did that on purpose. They knew this was going to happen. They knew there was going to be a transition. And they're going to force everybody to do what they want us to do. Nobody told them to do anything any differently. But when 5 banks can sit around overnight when Credit Suisse is in trouble and make a couple phone calls, and the next morning give Credit Suisse $40 billion in unsecured loans because they themselves decided to do that. That's what happens when unregulated 1% makes decisions to help themselves and then tells us we should be pissed off over paying somebody enough money to survive when they work 40, 50 hours a week.
Well, you volunteer to lose everything you have to be the poster boy for this, Mike.
I don't know if it's going to cost me everything I have, but come see my show April 29th at the 9. I'll be at the Alex Theater April 29th. And there is a whole body of stuff that at least everybody will get to hear. If it makes me the poster boy, fine. But I'll certainly play that role on this show across the country.
More details are coming out about today's school shooting. They've identified the victims. All 3 children were 9 years old.
Oh, man.
Adults 61, 60, and 61 years old. I don't see anything yet anyway, as a motive for what happened. But a terrible, terrible thing that happened today in Nashville by apparently a woman, 28 years old.
Let's also give some credit where it's due as well. This woman, whatever, shows up with 2 automatic weapons and a handgun. Yes, 3 children are dead. Yes, 3 adults are dead. But the mere fact that that woman was shot and killed within 15 minutes of that first 911 call being made, the response of the police in Nashville, and the 2 cops that threw caution to the wind and ran up the stairs, not knowing what they were going to face, saw the woman and shot her, may have prevented, with the amount of arms and munitions that she had on her, dozens more from being hurt or killed. So hats off to the Nashville police.
Not automatic weapons. Stop it.
Well, all right. Hi.
What I miss? Well, I mean, facts, but it is what it is. One website is reporting this person as Elizabeth Hale, Nashville resident who identified as a transgender woman. Another website not reporting that, so I don't know what is going on with that anyways. But it's terrible. But now's not the time to really start talking about banning guns. What do? Do you put armed officers into schools?
We can't turn elementary school into an armed camp. Those kids are in school, not prison.
So what would you rather happen if there was somebody there on site, on campus, when something like this happens, instead of waiting 14 minutes, which is what they reported, for the police to show up, which is fine. Police did their jobs, and they actually ran to the sound of gunfire, and so God bless them. But instead of
maybe
that, if you had an armed person on the campus, maybe that would stop it. Or what do you want to do? Lock them in?
No. What I want to do, a safe enough distance, a big enough distance away from the actual building, is have a perimeter fence. And
well, you know where they have perimeter fences? Prison.
Yeah. But
so you just said you don't want to make it one of those, but you're making one of those.
No, you asked me if I wanted armed guards walking around the property and the premises. I said no, but make it so nobody that doesn't belong in that school can't get within 500 feet of it.
It appears not maybe a woman, not automatic weapons. Facts.
All right, the word automatic doesn't change anything. She had high-powered rifles that
you used it. So I mean, if we're going to use words, then they should be correct words.
Okay.
So again,
I stand corrected.
I don't know what you want to do.
That just texted to tell me how the point I made changed by changing automatic to high-powered.
Because when you put a label on something, that demonizes it. You were demonizing, again, automatic assault weapons, or whatever you want to call them. They're not. That's what you're doing. But anyways, so you don't want to have a guard inside the school that could potentially save the kids because they have a gun. You don't want to arm somebody in the school, but you'd rather put up a perimeter fence, I guess, with a guard tower or something. What do you want it to do? How's it going to stop these people? And so what? Who's going to be at the gate of this perimeter fence to make sure that nobody walks through it?
How many metal detectors do you have to walk through to get on a plane?
Well, I'm not asking what that takes. I mean, I think that
That's
security
the kind
for
of
airplanes
security I'm talking about. I mean, that
is absolutely necessary. So are you gonna have a guard standing there, or a teacher, I guess, standing at a metal detector
to
make sure that
somebody
nobody's
with
coming
some
through?
training. Somebody with some training. You know that's where we're going if we keep this up. The only way to enforce any of the laws that have to be enforced are going to be with cameras and snipers.
Okay, but again, what do you want to do to stop these school shootings from happening? Because you're not going to get rid of guns. It's physically impossible to go door to door and start taking guns from everybody.
I want a fair distance away from the building.
Have you been to Cleveland?
Yeah.
Have you seen the schools? They're next to homes. You're not going to be able to put up a perimeter fence far enough away from the building to be able to stop people from coming in and shooting them up. I don't know what your answer is. I'm trying to figure out what great on a place like that happened today. A perimeter fence that's out in the middle of the woods somewhere is maybe a good idea. But if you're going to Cleveland, where a school is literally in the middle of a neighborhood with houses on top of it, how are you going to stop that from happening? If you put metal detectors into every single school, that's fine. But again, putting a metal detector at the front door isn't going to stop a guy who's crazy and wants to shoot up a school from going through another door or through a window and trying to get in. I'm trying to figure out what the solution is. And I think
there isn't a solution.
My opinion, the best solution is to arm a guard or two at the schools to make sure that something like this doesn't happen.
What if
my
they
daughter's
come in
at my daughter's
door?
old school? You know what I saw at my daughter's old school? I saw police presence there. I saw cops that had their cars parked out on the sidewalks. And when I drove up there, I almost thought something was wrong. But I was told, no, this is just people checking up, making sure that everything is good. That's the kind of security that I think that these schools need. Plus, it creates jobs. Details don't matter to progressives, just their own narratives made. Right. Well, I'm saying, what's wrong with my idea as opposed to your perimeter fence in the middle of Cleveland with the homes around? You're going to put a perimeter fence around the neighbors too?
If everybody you're talking about has trained officers, that's one thing. But you're not going to arm the teachers and have any effect.
Well, I didn't say armed teachers. I said have an armed guard or two or police presence. A lot of schools have the DARE officers. There should be a number of police presence. Yes, police shouldn't be demonized. That is a big part of the problem. More cops in smart places. Absolutely. You don't want more cops to protect the kids from schools?
I didn't say that. I'm not disagreeing with anything you said.
Again, okay, you can't just sit there and not talk because that defeats the purpose of a talk show. I'm asking you what the answer is. Your perimeter fence thing isn't going to work in neighborhoods. Okay, it's not going to work.
That's not necessarily true. Put the fence between the house and the school.
So then we're going to put a fence. So now we have to redraw the lines of the school because now you're going to have the fence that's going to go around the school, but probably go through the playground that's outside the school. What do you want to do?
You're
going to have to outline the entire thing.
Where did that statistic come from?
What
it will probably have to go through the playground.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where you're going to draw the lines for this stupid fence that's going to go around the school in the middle of a neighborhood. I'm trying to ask you what a better solution is because putting a fence up outside of a school when, yes, by the way, Mike, schools do have playgrounds and they do have tennis courts. Some of them have tracks too. Where are you going to put the fence around the school?
Perimeter
around the entire perimeter
property. Yeah.
Okay, and then who's going to guard the fence
on the inside
to make sure that somebody doesn't cut through the fence? Is it going to be an electrified fence? I'm trying to figure out what your solution is here because a fence ain't going to cut it. Are you going to put barbed wire at the top of the fence so they don't jump over it?
All right, so then you're not trying to figure out what my solution is.
And then I'm going to ask you one other question before we take a break because I'm going to take one more break here.
All right.
We'll wrap it up. We'll talk about what's coming up on Wednesday. But I'm going to ask you one more thing about your perimeter fence that you want to put up around these schools. How about putting up a damn perimeter fence at the damn border so we don't have illegals coming over here? We'll be right back.
What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran-owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last. Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's flag serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick Flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. Winter is here, so call Charlie's Auto Repair for snow plowing needs. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.
Right back here, the Seth Williams Show with Mike Chasselka. We've got a few minutes left here. Scott says my fence blew down in the wind. Well, part of it.
All right. They have invisible fences that will keep your dog in the yard. If we had laser fences all the way around the school, it could notify somebody that somebody who doesn't belong there is on their way toward the building.
Holy
so let's
shit.
not be stupid. But number
we can't-
two, since the wall
wait a
is
second,
working at the border, why don't we put a couple armed guards at the border and just shoot everybody that tries to come into the country?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I knew it.
So these laser fences, we're going to put. That's what we can't afford textbooks in Cleveland, but we're going to have laser fences up.
You know what? I wouldn't put a price on the life of 3 kids in anybody's school in the city of Cleveland.
How about putting a price on reading first?
How about you said job creation? How about all the companies that make laser fences? And
You know how many schools there are in the country?
Yes.
But anyways, I'm not sold on the fence idea. I think we need to find something a little bit more sustainable than a laser fence to keep us our kids safe. Again, I think the police today and that school shooting did a hell of a job by getting there as quickly as they did.
Amen.
But 14 minutes is still long enough for somebody to do a whole lot of damage. I think they said
somebody said today on TV, when the phone call goes out, you're already behind the 8 ball. The perpetrator is already in the school.
And I think they said something like the actual shooting takes place for 20 to 60 seconds.
Right. So if the guard is taking a leak when somebody comes into school, that doesn't prevent the shooting.
Well, that's why I said that too.
If you identify somebody that shouldn't be there before they get close to the building, you got a fighting chance.
I think what we should do is have
technology to do that. If we
we have technology. So what we should do is we should have a satellite that hovers over each school with satellite imagery of every person coming in, body scan them on their way into the school. Like every parent that comes to pick up their kid or drop off Bobby's lunch will be body scanned from space. And then if they have a
You think
gun
that
or
doesn't
anything
happen now, Seth?
or if anything
You
that
think
looks
the
like a
how
weapon,
many
they can
cameras-
laser them from space. And
How many
destroy them.
times do you think that happens to
Jesus
you during the
Christ.
course of the day? We're already under that much surveillance.
Well,
Every license plate reader.
well, then apparently these people that are being body scanned have been stopped at schools. So your body scanning isn't working yet.
It's working. They just haven't perfected the whole system yet. There's still a few loopholes.
Like if there are 3 police in school armed today, would it have taken 14 minutes to resolve this or 1? That's why cops should be in schools. Absolutely.
Yeah, I get that. But if somebody popped up and shot through the window, they could take 3 people out before they get caught too. If you're
Exactly.
that
So
close
there
to the building,
is
it's
no
too late.
There is no foolproof thing that you're going to do. You got to
didn't
try to
say
make
there
it
was.
the best you can. And I don't think putting up prison fences with barbed wire
I
and
didn't say
lasers all
prison
over
fences with barbed wire. I just said laser stuff.
All right, I'm going to do some research for the next show and see how much a laser fence would take to go around each individual school.
How
That's
much
just
does it
in the
cost for
city
your
of
dog?
Cleveland
How much does
alone.
it cost for your yard for your dog? How much does that cost?
I don't know. I don't have a job, so I can't afford a laser fence for anything that I have.
Okay.
But you can. The school messed up. No security. Yes. Thank you, ladies, for the job. Natalie must be behind a little bit on the show tonight.
No, she just figured that's the right way to end it, and she's absolutely right.
But someone didn't shoot through the window. In fact, that it's never. No, she went through the side door. Yes, that never happened in the school. Every shooting has been inside the school. Yes.
Oh,
that
great.
woman-
You just gave some idiot another idea, Chris. It's
No,
never
you
been
did.
done.
You're the one that said it. You're the one that brought it up. And that woman today apparently went through a side door. Mike flips out when he loses an argument.
It's not an argument.
I'll do the research and find out how much a laser fence would cost. I think that a fence around somebody's yard that happens to be an invisible fence, one, not a lot of people have those. They generally live in rich neighborhoods that those people have those invisible laser fences, whatever you want to call them.
You just
And
know
they're,
this stuff. It comes to you.
And no, I mean, I do have personal experience. I do drive around neighborhoods. I have seen invisible fences. I'm just pointing it out. So I'm guessing that the Cleveland School District probably doesn't have the budget for something like that, but maybe a couple of extra cops at schools might be something, or guys maybe get overtime or hire some cops is always a good thing. Hiring more police presence always tends to stop people. I don't know. Let's just cancel school completely. Problem solved. Yes.
Right. Let's just sit at home and Google stuff.
Right.
You got a question? Just Google it.
We can use AI, and if you have any questions about laser fences, you can call Mike Chisalka. All right, time to wrap everything up. Angelo Petiti is coming up on Wednesday.
Nice.
Petiti will be on. He'll be talking about gardening and what you can do with your lawn and flowers and all that kind of stuff. Angelo has been a good friend for a lot of years for the Trip Show, and looking forward to talking to him. We'll also have Tony Masaccio live from somewhere great as well, as usual, because he always is, and it'll be fun. All right, have yourself a great night. Mike, thank you.
You too.
Well, thank you, ladies from the Metro Burn Unit for coming on tonight. I shouldn't.
And thanks to Jay. And I
love
also
people
want
that were on tonight from the Metro Burn Unit. They have a great fundraiser going for the Providence House. Thank you. Jay Boc also. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I wanted to say thanks to you and to Chris for just jumping on board and being part of this without even batting an eye. Those people down there deserve this, and we're going to deliver for them.
Yep. I'm looking forward to raising a lot of money for the people of East Palestine and, of course, the Providence House. Check out their website and stuff as well for all the events going on there. God willing, we'll talk to you again on Wednesday night.
Good night.
Have a good night.